We're going to look at domain and range of absolute value functions. When you're looking at domain, you want to read your graph from left to right, just like you do a book. And when you're looking for range, you're going to look at your graph like you're looking at a big tall building, starting down and making your way up. Let's write the domain and range for the parent function. When I look at domain, again, I want to look at this graph from left to right, just like I would read a book. When I'm taking a look at the actual graph, I notice this arrow pointing to the left forever and ever. That's pointing at negative infinity. And when I follow the graph to the right, I notice I have another arrow going forever and ever, pointing at positive infinity. We're going to write our domain and range in what's called interval notation. It kind of looks like points. Basically, this says my x values exist from negative infinity to positive infinity. I use parentheses because, like Buzz Lightyear said, to infinity and beyond. I can't actually touch infinity, so that value is not included. I'm looking at the range now. I'm going to read this from bottom to top. So notice that the first y value I get to is 0, and it is included in my set of values because it is a point on the graph. As I make my way up that graph, both of those y values are pointing towards positive infinity. So my range is from 0 to positive infinity. Remember that we can't include infinity, which is why it is in parentheses. When we take a look at this second graph, not much changes. That's because our domain is still pointing to the left forever and to the right forever. So notice how I'm writing that as negative infinity to positive infinity with parentheses. My y values still begin at 0, so I'm going to use a bracket, 0, to positive infinity. Those arrows are pointing up forever and ever and ever to infinity and beyond. The domain for absolute value functions is always the same because they'll always be pointing left forever and right forever. But here my range has changed. The first y value I get to is positive 3, in a bracket, included. But my y values are still pointing up forever to infinity and beyond. This last graph has the domain and range just like the parent function. Remember that this was just a vertical stretch. Come back later for more examples of domain and range in absolute value functions.